Alex's shuttle hovered above the swirling violet clouds of Zythera 9. The planet's surface glowed with strange bioluminescent plants that pulsed like tiny stars. He gripped the control panel, staring at the colony below. This was supposed to be a simple visit to meet his father's new family. But from the moment he arrived, he realized nothing here was simple. The air shimmered strangely as he stepped onto the landing pad. The ground felt almost alive beneath his feet. He could hear faint, melodic hums in the distance, sounds that didn't belong to any human world. His father, a tall man with silver hair and a calm expression, greeted him warmly, but Alex noticed his eyes flicker with unease. "Alex," his father said, "welcome to Zythera 9. You'll be staying here for a while. I hope you can adjust. Lyra has certain needs while she is in resonance." Alex blinked. "Resonance? What does that mean?" His father hesitated, then spoke carefully. "It's a natural cycle for her species. Her energy levels spike, and it affects the environment. It's powerful. You need to be careful." Alex's stomach twisted. He hadn't expected to be dealing with alien biology, let alone something that could change the whole planet. He followed his father into the habitat, a structure that seemed alive. The walls shifted subtly as they moved, and lights danced in patterns he didn't understand. Lyra appeared at the end of the hall. She was taller than Alex expected, her skin shimmering with soft blue light. Her eyes were large, almost luminescent, and she watched him with curiosity. When she moved, her steps barely touched the floor as if gravity treated her differently. "Alex," his father said gently, "this is Lyra, your stepsister." Lyra inclined her head, a graceful motion, and the air around her vibrated faintly. Alex felt a strange energy brush past him like the pull of a small magnet. He stepped back instinctively. "Hello?" he said, trying to keep his voice steady. Lyra's hum deepened, and for a moment, Alex felt like the walls themselves were responding to her presence. Then, without warning, the habitat seemed to shift. The floor tilted slightly and the hallway stretched longer than it should have. Alex grabbed the railing and held on. "Don't worry," his father said, chuckling nervously. "The habitat reacts to her energy. It's normal." Normal. Alex repeated the word silently. Nothing here felt normal. Over the next few hours, Alex tried to understand his new surroundings. The house was alive in ways he had never imagined. Doors appeared where they weren't. Before, hallways curved impossibly and the lights pulsed in time with Lyra's hums. He kept a mental note of safe spots, corners where the floor didn't shift and rooms where he could hide if things became dangerous. Then came the first sign that resonance was beginning. Lyra's hum grew louder, more insistent. Her skin glowed, brighter, and plants near the windows seemed to lean toward her. Alex watched in awe and fear as a small vine slithered across the floor, reaching out as if curious about her energy. "Father," Alex said, "why is the plant moving like that?" "It's part of her biology," his father explained. "During resonance, everything in her immediate area responds to her energy. The wildlife, the plants, even the weather can change." Alex felt a chill. The thought of being trapped here with someone whose very presence could alter the environment was terrifying. That night, the first tremors began. They were subtle at first, just a faint vibration beneath his feet, but soon the ground shook enough to knock over a small table. Alex realized the entire colony was built to withstand this, but he was not. He found himself gripping walls and furniture to keep balance, all the while hearing Lyra hum in the corner, her energy rippling through the habitat. By morning, the changes were more pronounced. The air was thick with energy, making it hard to breathe. The plants outside had grown several feet taller overnight, and alien creatures prowled closer than usual. Alex stayed inside, observing Lyra from a safe distance. She moved with grace, unaware of the danger around her, and yet in some way she commanded it. Alex decided he needed a plan. The first step was understanding her patterns. He began keeping notes. When she moved, when she hummed, what triggered the environmental reactions. He discovered that her energy peaked at regular intervals, and during these peaks, the habitat became nearly impossible to navigate. He realized he would need both courage and cleverness to survive. Then the predators arrived. They were like nothing Alex had ever seen, tall, sinewy creatures with translucent skin and glowing eyes. Drawn by Lyra's energy, they prowled the perimeter, testing the barriers. Alex felt panic rise, but he forced himself to think. If he moved too quickly or made a sound, they would know he was there. He had to be smart. Using his knowledge of human survival, Alex set traps with whatever materials he could find. Energy dampeners, reflective panels, and alien tech he barely understood. It wasn't perfect, but it bought him time. He could see the creatures move away, confused by the signals he sent out. For the first time, he felt a small victory. Lyra noticed him during one of her energy spikes. She tilted her head, sending out a pulse of energy that brushed against Alex. Instead of fear, he felt clarity. He realized that she wasn't trying to harm him. She simply didn't understand the impact of her own biology. He took a deep breath and slowly approached her. "Lyra," he said carefully, "I need to understand you, to help both of us survive." Her eyes widened slightly and she hummed a softer note. For the first time, Alex felt like he was communicating with her, not just through words, but through mutual understanding. The next few days were a test of patience and ingenuity. Alex learned to move with the rhythm of her energy, predicting when the environment would shift and when predators might strike. He discovered ways to shield himself using human ingenuity and makeshift barriers. At the same time, he observed Lyra adapting in her own way, moving with confidence and grace through an environment that he struggled to master. One evening, as the twin suns of Zithera 9 set, the planet itself seemed to hum in resonance with Lyra. The sky shimmered with strange colors, and the forest outside grew taller and wilder, almost reaching the colony's walls. Alex stood at a window, heart-pounding, watching as creatures slinked through the glowing foliage. He realized that the coming days would test him like never before. The final challenge of Part 1 came suddenly. A massive tremor shook the colony, knocking Alex off his feet. The predators had found a way past his defenses, drawn closer by Lyra's peak energy. He looked toward her. She was glowing brightly, unaware of the immediate danger. Alex knew he had to act. He grabbed what he could, a reflective energy panel, a makeshift shield, and a handheld communicator. He crept toward the door, every step calculated. The creatures snarled, their translucent bodies pulsing with a soft light. Alex felt fear claw at him, but he pushed it down. Humans survived because they could think under pressure, and he would need every ounce of that ability now. As he reached the door, one of the predators lunged. Alex held up the reflective panel, redirecting a flash of light and energy. The creature yelped and recoiled, giving him just enough time to pull the door open. He called out to Lyra, guiding her toward a safer room he had prepared. Her hum shifted, almost like a laugh, and she followed him willingly. The predators circled outside, unsure how to breach the defenses. Alex took a deep breath, heart still racing. They had survived the first real test together, but he knew the week was far from over. As he looked at Lyra, glowing softly in the dim light of the colony, Alex felt a strange mix of awe and responsibility. He was trapped here, yes, but not helpless. With careful observation, quick thinking, and human courage, he had a chance to survive, and maybe even help Lyra navigate the challenges of her resonance. And so, the first part of their ordeal ended, not with a victory, but with understanding. That survival on Zithera 9 required both intelligence and empathy, and that humans, even in the most alien of worlds, could rise to the challenge. The next morning, Zithera 9 glowed under the light of twin suns, painting the colony in shades of violet and gold. Alex woke to the faint hum of Lyra, who was moving gracefully across the room. Her glow pulsed gently now, far less intense than yesterday, but he could sense the energy building again. He knew that the worst was not over. He rubbed his eyes and looked at the control panels he had set up. They blinked with tiny lights, warning of environmental fluctuations and approaching predators. The previous day had taught him that human ingenuity could buy time, but survival required constant vigilance. He checked the energy dampeners he had improvised and adjusted the reflective panels. making sure they were angled properly to protect against Lyra's surges. Lyra noticed him moving and tilted her head, sending a soft pulse of energy toward him. Alex felt a strange warmth but did not move closer than necessary. He had learned that respecting her space was as important as protecting himself. "We need to prepare," he said softly. "The predators will be back and your energy will peak soon." Lyra's hum shifted, almost acknowledging him. It was the first time she seemed to understand the danger they faced together. Alex realized that survival here was not about domination, it was about cooperation. By midday, the colony had become a strange battlefield. Plants twisted and grew at alarming speeds, creating barriers and paths he had to navigate carefully. Alien creatures prowled the edges, their glowing eyes tracking any movement. Alex decided it was time to move Lyra to the safe room he had prepared yesterday, reinforced with energy barriers and alien tech he barely understood. "Follow me," he said. "It's safer there." Lyra moved with surprising speed, her bioluminescent skin casting shifting shadows on the walls. Alex felt a thrill of both fear and excitement. This was not a world humans were meant to navigate, yet he was finding ways to survive, thinking faster than any of the creatures around him. The journey across the colony was perilous. The floor shifted under his feet. The walls bent in impossible angles, and energy pulses from Lyra created small tremors that caused objects to topple. Alex ducked under a falling beam, catching it just in time with his makeshift shield. Lyra hummed softly, almost as if apologizing for the chaos she was unintentionally causing. When they reached the safe room, Alex activated the energy dampeners, creating a bubble of relative calm. Lyra stepped inside, her glow dimming slightly as the room absorbed the excess energy. Alex exhaled, feeling a momentary relief, but there was no time to relax. Through the windows, he saw the predators circling again, more numerous this time. They had learned from the previous day, and their movements were coordinated. Alex realized that he needed a new strategy. Survival would depend not just on hiding, but on outthinking them. He scanned the alien tech around him, looking for something he could use. His eyes landed on a set of crystalline panels used for communication and energy transfer. He quickly arranged them to create a maze of reflections and energy pulses outside the room. If the predators followed the wrong path, they would be confused and retreat. As he worked, Lyra observed silently, occasionally humming to adjust the resonance. Alex felt a connection forming between them, a partnership built on trust, observation, and mutual need. He had expected fear, tension, and isolation, but instead he found an ally in Lyra, someone who could sense the world in ways he never could. The predators arrived, drawn by Lyra's energy peaks. Alex activated the panels, sending flashes of light and energy pulses outward. The creatures hesitated, moving cautiously as the reflections disoriented them. One predator lunged, but a redirected energy pulse knocked it off balance. The others paused, unsure of the safe path. Alex felt a surge of triumph. Humans had brains and creativity, and even in an alien world that could turn the tide. Lyra moved closer, sending a subtle wave of energy that stabilized the room. Alex realized that her power, when guided and understood, could be a tool rather than a danger. Together they managed to calm the immediate threat, and the predators eventually retreated into the forest. After the ordeal, Alex and Lyra sat in the dim light of the safe room. She hummed softly, and he responded with quiet words, explaining his observations and plans. For the first time, they communicated not just through words, but through understanding and shared purpose. Alex felt a deep respect for her, and she seemed to sense it. The following days were a test of endurance. Zithra 9's environment reacted violently to Lyra's resonance. Trees grew tall and twisted. Small earthquakes shook the colony, and the weather shifted unpredictably. Alex moved cautiously, applying human logic to predict the changes. He reinforced barriers, redirected energy flows, and monitored wildlife activity. Lyra assisted in her own way, learning to channel her energy more predictably. Alex guided her subtly, showing her how to pulse in patterns that would stabilize the habitat rather than disrupt it. It was slow work, but together they began to tame the chaos. One afternoon, a massive tremor shook the colony. A tree the size of a building crashed near the safe room, blocking the main exit. Alex and Lyra had no choice but to navigate the shifting corridors to reach a secondary escape route. The walls bent unpredictably, forcing Alex to jump across gaps and cling to ledges. Lyra moved gracefully, almost as if she was flying, guiding him with soft energy pulses. They reached the secondary exit, only to find a group of predators waiting. Alex's heart pounded. He had to think quickly. He activated the reflective panels he had carried with him, creating a cascade of light and energy pulses. The predators hesitated, confused by the flashing lights and redirected pulses. Lyra added her own subtle energy waves, amplifying the effect. Together, they created a corridor of confusion that allowed them to slip past the predators. Alex felt a thrill of exhilaration. They were surviving, not just because of strength, but because of intelligence, cooperation, and quick thinking. Humans could adapt, even in the most alien of worlds, and Alex embodied that. As the resonance reached its peak, the habitat itself seemed to respond to Lyra's energy. Walls pulsed with light, floors shifted like waves, and the air vibrated with power. Alex held onto the edge of a platform, feeling the incredible force around him. He realized that survival was not about resisting the alien world. It was about understanding it, adapting to it, and working with it. Lyra's hum changed, a softer, more harmonious tone. Alex sensed that the peak was ending. The tremors slowed, the shifting walls stabilized, and the predators retreated further into the forest. The planet seemed to exhale, returning to a calmer state. Alex leaned against a wall, exhausted but exhilarated. They had survived the peak together. In the aftermath, Alex and Lyra began to explore the colony more freely. He showed her ways to stabilize small energy surges, while she taught him how to sense the rhythms of Zithra 9. They discovered hidden chambers, strange flora, and subtle energy currents that had previously gone unnoticed. Their partnership grew stronger, built on trust, mutual respect, and shared survival. One evening, Alex watched the twin suns set, casting long shadows across the bioluminescent landscape. Lyra stood beside him, her glow dim but steady. He realized that the week of resonance had transformed them both. He had learned to navigate an alien world with creativity and courage, and she had learned to channel her power with understanding. His father arrived a few hours later, repairing the shuttle. Alex felt a mix of relief and pride. They had survived Zithra 9's challenges, not through raw strength, but through intelligence, patience, and cooperation. Humans could thrive, even in worlds far beyond their own, if they used their minds and hearts. Before leaving, Alex looked back at the planet, at the glowing forests and shifting landscapes. He felt a sense of accomplishment. Survival here had not been easy, but it had proven that humanity's greatest strength was adaptability. Lyra turned to him and hummed softly, a final gesture of acknowledgement. Alex smiled. They had faced one of the most alien challenges imaginable, and they had done it together. As the shuttle lifted off, Alex reflected on the lessons he had learned. Courage was important, intelligence could save lives, and trust between beings, human or alien, was the key to overcoming even the most impossible situations. He knew that no matter where humans went in the galaxy, they could find ways to survive, adapt, and thrive. The experience had been frightening, exhausting, and exhilarating. He had faced a world unlike any other and discovered that humans, with their resourcefulness and determination, could rise to challenges that even the most advanced alien species might fear. And with that thought, Alex watched Zithra 9 fade into the distance, knowing that humans had a place in the stars, not just as visitors but as resilient, clever survivors who could face any challenge and come out stronger.